Hello. Welcome back to Huntsville. In today's episode, we clear out a backlog of items we needed to address. We run existing services from Garland Way to the rest of the city, so we stop importing power, paying too much for water, and polluting our river. We attempt to improve access to Old Town Huntsville by creating another entrance point and a roundabout. Also, we build post offices, a new police station, and new schools to improve citizen happiness. Finally, we come up with a more sustainable and long-term waste solution by building a recycling center. All of these were long overdue. If you're excited to see these little changes make a big impact, please let me know by pressing the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. Hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty, let's dive right in. So, we are paying too much for electricity. We're currently importing it, as you guys may have noticed. I'm not exactly sure. Well, we have our own power station back here producing, but just for Garland Way. So we got to fix that. And to do so, we need to connect these two areas together by purchasing this tile. So let's do that. Okay, that is done. We're gonna have to first build a new source, and I think I'm just gonna build another coal power plant because we're not really consuming that much power, and building anything bigger than that right now, the upkeep is just gonna be a lot in comparison to what we'd be spending with two coal power plants. So I'm gonna build the power plant first and then connect everything together. I feel like I want these to be back to back right here. All right, so we're gonna take that new line, we're gonna run it underneath our highway, and we're gonna build it into the city's core right now and bring it to that transformer. We'll disconnect the transformer to the outside line so we stop importing power. And now we'll connect the line we just built to the outside line so we can start selling surplus electricity. So before, I'm not sure if I showed it, but I think we're spending like $160,000 a month on importing electricity. So we're still importing now. That'll go away. But yeah, our electricity should be a lot cheaper after that change. And before we move on to the next item, let's just quickly touch this area up. And I'm just making an extra street here because I believe I'm gonna need another power plant at some point. I just want to be able to make sure I can place it right here. All right, nothing too crazy, just adding some surfacing and greenery. All right, the next thing we need to do is stop pumping sewage into the river. Not only do we want to stop doing that just for the sake of not polluting the river, but we also are paying for more water service than we actually need right now. So first, we're going to go ahead and connect this area of the city to our water services in Garland Way. And we're going to run this underneath the highway. So we can remove these existing services. And there goes the sewage. So we'll get rid of that pipe too, because that's going to annoy me. Cool. All right, so if we're just looking at the before and after, yeah, we're spending a truck ton less money on electricity, so that's great. And we're also selling some, which offsets the cost. Water, sewage, should have looked at that before. Maybe I can cut back to it right here. Yes, hopefully this is lower. If it's not lower yet, it's because we're still waiting for the numbers to update with the new services. All right, the next thing we need to address is citizen unhappiness. So right now, our folks are kind of meh feeling. And as you can see, we have a high crime risk and unreliable mail service driving that. So I think I'm going to build a new police station, and I'm going to put it right here between Prospect and Mulberry. So I'm still kind of thinking about the idea of a police station being across from a high school. I'm not crazy about it, but at the same time, I think if we add enough landscaping, we might be able to create some sort of, reasonable separation. As far as location, I can't really think of a better spot for it, really, centrally located. So I think I'm going to put it right here. Okay, let's try this. I was going to just use the base vanilla police station, but let's try the NL Netherlands one. I just hope it fits. I think I definitely want it to front on Prospect. Hopefully the architecture is not crazy different. I mean, other than the language, I don't mind that. I don't want to get caught up on that. That's bugging me, but I don't want to get too hung up on that because I think this looks good right there from the street level too. I think that's okay. All right, before we detail the police station, I want to address the unreliable mail service as well. I'm just going to build small post offices. I think it's like asset-wise, it's probably the most fitting right now based on what's available. And it also happens to be the least expensive, which is certainly what we need right now, considering how little money we have. So we need to take out a loan anyways, so it needs to be cheap. The first one I want to place is right here at the corner of Pine and Mulberry. Okay, so right there. Okay, so that's the first one, and we're going to build more. So let's take out a small loan. So we're going to build two more. They're 75,000 a piece. Let's take 200,000 out. Okay, the next one I want to build, I think, is right here because the zoning here is kind of broken anyways. Like, I know I can probably come back and try to fix it by building a new road, but I think I'm just going to build the post office here and then have it kind of blend in later with detailing. So also location wise, it's kind of in the center of these two communities, which I think works. So I'm going to go ahead and place that. That's a little bit better. All right, the last one I want to build is on Evergreen Gardens. So I think there's space around our park. So if our park is right here, I can build it, let's say right here. This seems to be a good spot for it. Right there. Cool. All right, with the offices built, we have to build some mailboxes. So I'm just gonna go throughout sections of the city and just throw these down. I'll make sure I'm not putting them in front of people's driveways. So I'll try to put them on street corners as best I can. All right, we have mailboxes down, we have post offices, new police station. Let's go ahead and detail those spaces. Yeah, I think that's okay looking. All right, let's detail the next post office. There we go. Awesome. Cool. That's not... it's not the prettiest, I don't think, but I'm using space. All right, wrapped up this one. I think it's a touch better, and there's some functionality here, so that's good. Let's move on to the next one. Cool. All right, we've got a detailed police station and post office here in Fairview. Yeah, it is Fairview. Another one here in Old Town Huntsville, added a petrol station, not British, added a gas station, and then some bike shelters, which do appear to be getting used, which is awesome. This one's a little tougher. I'm just trying to make use of the space and behind this block here, because the zoning was broken, and couldn't think of a better way to use it. Visually, I wish there was a bit of canopy coverage, but not really a ton of space for trees. But anyways, this that works. And then of course, as we just completed, this one here on the island. Yeah, like those spaces. All right, the next thing we're tackling is this area right here. So I think Mosswood needs to be accessed by Old Town Huntsville in more areas than just this roundabout. So because this is just kind of a giant cul-de-sac right now. So yeah, we're gonna make a new connection to Mosswood, and I think I'm going to use Elk Street as a guide, which means we have to reconfigure our elementary campus right here and also connect it right here to Oak Street. Got a little bit of work here to do, so let's get to it. All right, that's reconfigured. And I actually like the extension right off the back of the building, to be honest. I think that looks a little bit better. And I'm kind of glad I actually extended that road out to here, because it seems to be an entrance or a drop-off point right here. So I think that looks a little bit better reconfigured like that. Now that we've added that new connection, let's go ahead and detail our modified elementary campus, fix our pathway connections, and see what we can do in this space here. right. We've created a new connection here, added a large roundabout, detailed the elementary school lot, reconnected the paths, and added some landscaping. This seems to be working. I think we're at a peak period right now, or we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there, if this is actually what's going on, being close to 4 o'clock. But yeah, I think this works. If traffic ends up becoming, or like is still an issue here, I think what I could end up doing, because there seems to be a lot of pedestrian activity here, and as soon as you get pedestrians in a crosswalk, you get a transport driver that just runs over people, but you get a lot of slowdowns. So what that might mean is we build a pedestrian path and bridge from Fairview here. So because there seems to be a lot of people using the sidewalk, and that could potentially cut down on the amount of people using the roundabout. We get rid of these crosswalks entirely, and we force people on the pedestrian path, which could then in turn have traffic flow here a little bit better, because yeah, it's starting to get backed up, but I think that was kind of as expected. We're kind of just pushing our traffic problems further back because there was only one access point to here. And just quickly, actually, before we jet off to the next task, let's make this a 5-lane asymmetrical heading downwards. So we're going to delete some of our bushes there, I see. We'll go back and remake those, and we'll make it to, let's say right here. Yeah, and then this bridge can be a 4-lane with a divider. Cool. And then I think the 5-lane asymmetrical heads that way too. Okay, awesome. There we go. That is complete for now. All right, so it is time to look at our elementary and high school capacity. So we currently have a capacity of 900 elementary school students and a capacity of 900 high school. So that's not good enough, and I'm pretty sure that's what's driving the crime risk. So it's still, I guess, contributing -5 points, whatever the points are. It's still contributing to crime, I believe, because I'm fairly certain that uneducated citizens are more likely to commit crime in this game. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so I'm going to build another elementary school and another high school. And I'm going to build them in Old Town Huntsville, because that is definitely the most populated area right now. And this is going to be expanding in this direction. So it makes sense to add the capacity here now, not only because we need to add it, but we're going to be expanding in this direction anyways, so might as well start building it more towards the center of where this city is going to be in the future. So let's take a look at where we can put an elementary school. So I want to use the Northeast Elementary School. It adds about 1,200 to our capacity, so we should see a decent bump in the amount of available spots, obviously. And I think the asset obviously works for this area, considering it is all Northeast region pack. So I'm going to extend or create a little block here, and I'm going to place it. I don't know if I'm going to place it along this road, because this might become a 4-lane at some point, and I don't want to build a campus and then have to destroy it or modify it later. So I think I might build one down here, and I'm going to place it right here. So let's get this block size, which is 112 meters, and let's put it right here. Cool. And let's build that. So let's put that there and remove these trees and put a parking lot here. I think that fits right there. Cool. Be better if we did not have a sidewalk here. Maybe we make this a one-way with parking on the opposite side of the road. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, that's a little bit better, I think. I like that. All right. I know that looks a little funny right now because that's just sticking out off the side of the street here, but we are actually going to extend this in a moment. Before that, we're going to extend the district right there. And we are going to assign this school to Old Town Huntsville, Elm Heights, Evergreen Gardens, and do we want to have it extend north of the highway? I think we leave that. Yeah, let's leave that. You know what? For the sake of these schools balancing enrollment, let's leave our existing schools for now. And as far as operating districts, let's just make this new one operate in every one of them. And we'll have to come back, revisit, and optimize our districts and what schools are serving them. So let's just stick with this. It's kind of just like every area can go to this elementary school. And what does that do for our capacity? Perfect. 2,100 with 1,800 eligible elementary students. We're kind of right in the right spot. So because we have more kids going to elementary school, we're obviously going to have more kids being eligible to go to high school. So now we're going to have to build a new high school, and it's going to be also in Old Town Huntsville. I think it makes sense to use the Northeast High School for this area, considering that's the region pack we're using right here, but I think it's just a little too big. Like, I suppose I could have that right there at the edge. We're gonna buy these tiles anyways, so it's not the end of the world if this high school is just a little bit bigger than our block sizes right now. However, the NA City High School is kind of the perfect fit, and it's similar size. Okay, let's go City High School, and we're gonna put it right here. So let's make another block as we've already started. This is 112 lengthwise, so that's good. And this high school is kind of right in the middle, and I can go on either end. So because of that, I kind of want it to be placed right in the middle. I'm not gonna have it snap to the road. Awesome, all the surfaces kind of extend outwards, except for this one, which we can put to there. All right, detailing wise, I can't really add too much to these blocks because the assets are pretty much taking up the entire space, but I'm gonna use this area here as green space, and I'm gonna put paths in this area. So this will be like I guess like a mock yard for the elementary school across the street. We've added our new schools. So let's take a look at our capacity now. So yeah, doing a lot better, obviously. 1,700 high school spots, 2,100 elementary school spots, which we're slowly losing that, I guess, as we go on here. We have to select an operating district for the high school. Let's make that every district similar to our new elementary school. Awesome. So yeah, so these are our new schools. Hopefully that contributes to lower crime, and I'm pretty sure it already is. Yeah, so -3. Whether or not that's schools or policing, I'm pretty sure that's schools. So that's good. Happiness is going up. We're obviously earning a lot of money. We're earning way more money now, double what we were previously. It's actually kind of weird with schools in this game. I never really realized it, but they actually don't seem to cost that much, at least elementary and high schools, because there's fees involved. So even if you add schools, the cost is not that high, all things considered, because we're almost making $200,000 a month just on fees. And the bonus that brings, I think, to our city as far as happiness and education does a lot as well. So schools definitely seem to solve a lot of problems for your city. All right, before we move on to the next item, let's just quickly name our schools. I'm just going to name them after the street they're on. So that should be pretty straightforward, I believe. Got it. So that's renamed. That's renamed correctly. This should be Firthmore, Bellwood. It is Bellwood, right? Yeah, Bellwood. Sycamore and Crestwood. Cool. That's a lot easier having these named. All right, with these new schools added, let's extend the blocks over here, or the roadway, and bring this out. All right, while those are being built, let's check if we need any bus line coverage out here. So this seems to be a bit of a dead zone. I didn't actually build a line out here. So let's grab this and extend it right here. That's okay. And the express is going to stay right there. All right, so we have those new blocks basically built out. They're fully zoned. The new high schools are built. The new schools are built, and we had a football field, some green space for the elementary school, a mixed use block. Well, I guess with some mixed use, and we extended this pathway back here. And we also checked for any gaps in busing for this new block. If you're wondering why I didn't build all the way down to the river, I think this will be the start of a new shape and a new line for our key wall. So we're going to visit that at some point, but it just won't be right now. All right, with everything we've been building, we should take a look at some of our city services. So water, how are we looking here? Okay, not great. We need to add a pump upgrade to our groundwater over here. So let's do that. And that just attaches right to the building. Fantastic. And that brings our new capacity to just above our current need. Maybe not just above, a little bit more than that. But anyways, yeah, that's good. Sewage treatment still high. That's great. While we might not have to make any upgrades to our sewage treatment, we do have to make some upgrades with electricity. So we're kind of getting to a crossroads here of when do I stop building coal power plants and just build a gas power plant? The upkeep on this is obviously much higher than a small coal power plant. I think I'm going to build one more small coal power plant, and then that'll be the last one before adding something like a gas power plant. Because currently we have 2 of these already. The upkeep should be I think it's just under 100K for each one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so 72,000 a month for both. So we're looking at, 140-ish. One more coal power plant, we're looking at 210, and the gas power plant is upkeep. It's 300,000. So I think that's going to be our last one before we upgrade. And also the thing with the gas power plant, this is a huge asset. So I also need to find the space to put it somewhere. Like, I think I'm realistically going to have to buy a tile to make it work, like up over here. So yeah, that'll take a little bit more planning, I think. And right now, I think we can get by on a small coal power plant. So I set this up earlier so I could just place it right here. And I'm going to do just that. There we go. And I'll just give this a road as well. All right, there we go. Wrapped up with that. All right, before we get away from power, I actually want to build a battery station. Now, whether or not that's completely necessary, I think that's debatable, but I'm pretty good at forgetting about power and electricity needs. So just in case that happens, I would like to build a battery station because then I don't have to worry necessarily about just completely forgetting about it. I can just have this be kind of our safety net. As far as where we're going to build it, I don't see why I wouldn't put it right here. So I think I like it right there. Okay. All right. Last but not least, we need to come up with a more permanent solution for waste management. So currently, the city's being served by 2 landfills, both of which are basically maxed out, and we have garbage piling up at sites already. So we need to build a recycling center. I like the idea of the incineration plant just in the sense of the processing capacity, but I think we can get by with a recycling center right now, and cost wise too. We do have a lot of we do have some money. We don't have like a ton, so I think I would like to save a little bit while we can and just build a recycling center. And as far as location, I think I want to have it over here on this side of the like this little cliff right here. So I do have to do a little terrain work, but I don't think it's too major. All right, right off the hop, I want to add the truck depot. I just think we could use that right now because we're going to start emptying out this. I just don't want to dump this close to the city. I think this land has a lot of potential, and I don't think a landfill is a great use for it right now. So I'd like to start emptying this out. Obviously, there's going to be pollution under here, and we're going to have to figure that out. But yeah, I just want to at least start emptying this out so we can have the possibility of getting rid of it. Nothing too crazy, but just some little touches in front to help out visually. Okay, one last thing before we wrap up. Cue the music. It's going. And just like that, the world has been saved. And just like that, it is done. All right, that brings us to the end of the episode. Again, Really appreciate you guys watching. Means a lot, especially if you stick around to the end of these. If you have any feedback on anything we've built today, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked it, press the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. Again, appreciate you guys watching and hope to see you in the next one. See ya.